Oh my gosh, today we're gonna be making HaloHalo donuts. So these HaloHalo donuts are inspired by an online-only bakery in New York called Cora with incredible Filipino flavored gourmet donuts made by a Filipino chef. Apparently there's an 800-person waitlist for these donuts! And I don't even live in New York, so I guess I have to make these at home. Welcome to Jeanelleats, where you can taste the flavors of the world in your kitchen. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that bell so that you don't miss out on the weekly food videos that I make on this channel. Hit that like button too if you want me to keep making fun recipes with awesome flavors like these HaloHalo donuts. Okay, let's get started. But full disclosure, the donuts from Cora are super intricate and beautiful. I mean, she's like a boss chef. The donuts I'll be making here today are gonna be a way more simplified version. All right, let's start with 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 1/3 cup of white granulated sugar, and 2 teaspoons of instant yeast. And then mix up all the dry ingredients together. By the way, you can knead this dough by hand. It's just a lot easier for me to use my stand mixer so that I don't have to do a lot of work. And then I'm gonna add 2 eggs directly into the dry mixture. Some people like to mix the liquid ingredients together first and then pour it in, but I haven't seen a difference, so. And then mix those two well. Next, I'm gonna add milk. So here I have 1 cup of milk, but I'm just gonna add it slowly while stirring, and I'm just gonna add enough milk until all the flour has been picked up. Okay, so this is what your dough should look like, and good thing I poured in the milk slowly because I have like less than 1/4 of a cup left in here. So make sure you pour in that milk slowly. Okay, now I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And then finally, 4 tablespoons of room temperature butter. And then I'm gonna let this knead until the dough becomes very smooth. I mean, you're gonna see a huge difference in the before and after. This will take my stand mixer about 8 to 10 minutes on medium speed. Ooh, okay, so do you see how much smoother this dough is compared to when we first started mixing it? And yes, it will be a little bit stickier, but that's okay because we will add some flour to it later when we roll it out. Okay, so now you're just gonna cover this and then we're gonna let it rise until it doubles in size. Okay, now while we wait for that to rise, we're gonna make the custard filling and the glaze. Let's start with the custard first. What you're gonna need is like a stirring spoon and then just a small saucepan. First thing you're gonna add to this saucepan is 2 cups of full fat coconut milk. Make sure you actually reserve 2 tablespoons first before you put it in here. I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do with that later. Now we're gonna turn on the flame to low heat. Make sure it's low because we're gonna add eggs on here later and we don't want it to curdle. Next, we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of butter, 2 tablespoons of white sugar, and then we're gonna crack 2 eggs. And then just stir these up so they mix together well. Just keep stirring this, making sure that you mix them all up, especially that egg, and just keep stirring, okay? You don't wanna leave this because the eggs will curdle. If you have a thermometer and the temperature reads at least 160 degrees, then it's safe to use because that means the eggs are already cooked. If you don't have a thermometer, just make sure that the mixture is thick enough that it coats the back of your spoon. All right, so I'm gonna turn off the heat for a moment so that I can get the cornstarch and this custard doesn't curdle. Remember the 2 tablespoons of coconut milk I said to save earlier? So take that and then add 1 1/2 tablespoons of cornstarch and then mix it up. You have to mix cornstarch in with a cold liquid first before adding it into anything hot. Okay, and then I'm just gonna dump this straight into the custard. We're gonna turn on the heat to low again. And then just keep stirring this up until the mixture thickens. It should be significantly thicker than when we first put in the cornstarch. Okay, so this should be thick enough. Now turn off your flame and then let it cool down. Ooh, look, it's so much thicker now. This is perfect for filling our donuts with. Okay, now we've got our base custard. What we're gonna add on here is what makes it HaloHalo, and it's this HaloHalo mix. When you go to a Filipino supermarket, you can actually find individual ingredients that you want to add into your HaloHalo in their own jar. But if you're lazy and you don't want to buy like 6 to 7 jars like I am, you can go ahead and get this one. This one has like the jackfruit, it has red mung beans, white beans, coconut gel, sugar palm fruit. So I'll just use this. If I find one of these online for you guys to buy, I'll put a link in the description below. Okay, so let me pour it out so you guys can see it. So you've got the red bean, you've got the coconut gel right here. And this is the palm fruit. It's rounder compared to the coconut gel. And then you've got jackfruit right here. And then you've got the white beans right there. My favorite in HaloHalo would actually be the beans. That's like the best part, but a lot of people would disagree. A lot of people actually like the coconut gel. Okay, and then just add in as many of the ingredients as you want in here. I'm probably gonna add everything in, but cut back on the coconut gel a little bit. Yeah, and this is plenty of HaloHalo ingredients, so just mix this well until it integrates into the custard. Oh my gosh, so guess what I found in the fridge? I guess my sister left it here when she came over. So this is the sugar palm fruit, but it's been dyed red, so it's gonna add a little bit of color. I'm gonna add a little bit to this custard so that we can see a little bit of color when we bite into the donuts. Okay, perfect. There is our HaloHalo custard. We're gonna set that aside, and now we're gonna be working on the glaze. So first thing we're gonna do is in a medium bowl, sift 1/2 cup of powdered sugar. So typically HaloHalo is topped off with an ice cream, and it's usually ube ice cream. So for our glaze, I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of ube extract to mimic that ice cream on top. And then add 2 tablespoons of coconut milk. And then just stir this up. Awesome, there's your ube glaze. So just set this aside and we're gonna wait for the dough to double in size. Oh my gosh, so I almost forgot. If you guys have corn flakes or maybe Rice Krispies or something like nice and crunchy, we're gonna top our donuts off with that. But I actually don't have either of those, but what I do have is pinipig. These are supposedly immature grains of glutinous rice that's been pounded. And after you toast these, they're super crunchy and they're delicious to top off a bunch of desserts. Okay, so I'm just gonna dry toast these on a pan. And then we can use these to put on top of our donuts. Ooh, okay, that is a nice golden brown toasted color. That is good enough, so I'm gonna set this aside. Okay, finally, the dough has doubled in size, so I'm gonna flour my work surface and then dump out the dough. Okay, so since this dough is pretty sticky, we're gonna add some more flour on top, just so it's easier to roll out. And then use your hands to press this dough into a circle, making sure to press out any air bubbles inside the dough. And then take a cutter. So this is a 3.5 inch cutter. If you don't have a cutter, you can go ahead and use a bowl or a cup. And then just slice out circles from the dough. And then place these guys in a parchment paper lined baking sheet. We're gonna let them rise a little bit again before we start frying them. And then for the leftover dough, just flatten it out again and then same thing, cut out the circles. I was able to get 12 donuts out of that. What we're gonna do now is cover these 2 baking trays with a large plastic bag or plastic wrap, and then we're gonna let it rise again until when we poke it, the dough only swings back halfway. That means it's ready to fry. All right, so these guys have been rising for about 35 to 40 minutes, and when I poke it, the dough kind of springs back halfway. So now we're ready to fry it. So to fry these, you're gonna choose a pan or a pot and then fill it up with oil. So cut the parchment paper that your donuts were resting on, and then you can just plop these into the frying oil so that you don't have to pull at the dough to take it off. When you're frying your donuts, make sure that your flame isn't on way too high, because if you have it too high, the outside of the donut will cook a lot faster and the inside will still be raw. So fry these donuts up on both sides until they're golden brown like this, and then take them out and drain them on a paper towel lined plate. Oh, that's massive. Whoa, huge. So now we just have to wait a few minutes so I can pick it up with my hands, and then we can start filling it with a HaloHalo custard. So typically I would use a piping bag to fill the donuts. And remember those pieces from the HaloHalo that I put in here? They are not gonna fit through here. So the first thing you wanna do is to create a hole that's big enough for the spoon. So poke the donut with a chopstick and then wiggle the chopstick around so we can create space for the custard. And then we're just gonna stuff the custard into the donut using this spoon. Okay, now here is your HaloHalo stuffed donut. So just repeat the step for the rest of the donuts. After you've stuffed all the donuts, it's time to dip them in the UBE glaze. Oh my God, this is glorious. Let's try it. Oh my God. It's so good. Coffee. This HaloHalo donut is jam-packed with goodies. It's so good, it's not too sweet, and it's definitely gonna fill you up. I mean, I don't even think I can finish one of these. I actually just wanted them to turn out looking decent, but I love how they look. Well, that's it, guys. Make sure you like this video if you love how these donuts turned out. And hit that subscribe button so that I can see you guys again next week, okay? Bye!